Welcome to the Friday night NFL Variety Show. I have a great panel tonight. The usual cast, you know who we are, but let me introduce everyone. I got Corey Lockdown Davis. I have a great friend of the show, John LaJoy. And if you notice, we're dads here. So if you hear some background noise, hey, forgive us a little bit. We're having fun. But it's the Friday night show, and we will be here, and we are going to be talking about a bunch of great stuff. And I also have Darwin in the background. When he's ready, I'm going to pop him on. So let me start out by asking everybody. First off, it's Friday. So how you doing? How you been? Where you been? What you been doing? Corey Davis.
Oh, I'm doing good. Went to Dallas this morning and came home, sat down, relaxed to the show start.
Awesome. John, same question. How you been? Where you been? How you doing? What you doing? And
Been,
expand as much as you want.
yeah, been doing good. Dealing with kids, doctor's appointments, and that type of stuff. Dealing with kids at schools. Basically all the fun stuff as being a parent.
Awesome. Well, we are, not the youngest guys out there. We're not the oldest cats either, but we've been around for a couple moons, right? A little bit longer than we want to say, and maybe, not as long as we should say, right? So, with that all being said, we've been around football for a while, and we got a lot of great people in the chat. Thank you all for coming. Caitlin, I see you. Thank you, family. So we got Randy and a bunch of great people, but we're talking about what it is, and what it is football. And when I started watching football, it was the Niners and the Cowboys. And what is it again? It's the Niners and the Cowboys. The NFL is a better league when the Niners and the Cowboys are at their prime. When they are out there and hey, I'm not rooting for the Cowboys to win. Okay, I'm not a hater here. But when the Niners and the Niners and Raiders, what am I saying? The Niners and Cowboys are winning, the league is doing really well. So that's my humble opinion, but it does seem to really have like an effect on it. So my point is you look at the Cowboys. They were a very mighty team in the 70s, went to a lot of Super Bowls. Boom. Here comes the Niners. We kind of take that from them. We go all the way through the 80s. Then the 90s, we have kind of like a maybe a little bit of a back and forth. And then from there, we all lose our quarterbacks. We haven't really been able to get a firm foundation from there. And it goes back to my childhood. Watching Super Bowls. My first Super Bowl was watching the Niners. My second Super Bowl was watching the Cowboys. And since then, it's been about 30 years, and I haven't seen our teams hoist a Lombardi. So you can't necessarily say the Niners are better or the Cowboys are better. And this is being honest. And why can you say that? The Niners have been to two Super Bowls, and we haven't hoisted the Lombardi. The Cowboys have been to eight Super Bowls, and they've lost three times. The Cowboys have been to more championship games than we have in the past. So overall, like maybe in a couple years, you could say, oh, well, we were a better team or they were a better team. But overall, the Cowboys have had a very good history, and the Niners have had a very good history. We caught a lot of storm, and just took the league by whatever you want, the cojones. What would you like to say? But we won a lot of Super Bowls between the 80s and the 90s, and the Cowboys won a couple in the 90s. So since then, the Niners have caught up a little bit. We've been to some championships, but we're both struggling. Neither one of us can necessarily get past you know hoisting the Lombardi, right? And it's not going to say, "Oh, it can't ever happen again." It's been a little bit of time. The Cowboys haven't been to an NFC Championship game since their last Super Bowl. The Niners have made it to several NFC Championship games, and that's where it's sad because we don't necessarily go to NFC championships and lose. You should look at our record, and you'll understand what I mean by that. The Cowboys don't really go to NFC championships and lose. look at their record. We don't necessarily lose Super Bowls. We have a really good record. Now, at one time, we were perfect. We're not perfect anymore. No one can stay perfect. Shout out to Levi. You guys are 2-0. One of those are from us. So you're welcome. But we didn't give it to you. We fought hard for it. But we're talking about, again, the rivalry that's kind of been forgotten about. And why has it been forgotten about? Because the Niners had a point in time where we weren't the dominant team in the 70s. The Niners were formed in 1946. Our first team game, I think, was 1948. 1948 was our first season, I believe. Then our first matchup against the Cowboys, and this is all me going off my head. So the first game was in the 60s. Then we brought in, let me bring in Jason as I'm rambling. Our first game was in the 60s. We beat the Cowboys, I believe, the first couple times. We did tie with the Cowboys. Our overall record with the Cowboys is 19-1. So this is going to be the 40th matchup of this rivalry. The Niners in 1970, 71, and 72 caught something in, lightning in the bottle, whatever you want to say. It was probably our best season since becoming a franchise. People, they think about the Steelers, the Niners, and the Cowboys, and they're like, oh, wow, and the Packers, and they think, oh, these guys are great teams. Well, the Packers won some championships to start the Super Bowl out. The Cowboys came in, and they were notable. They were good, but they weren't great. The Steelers in the 70s, they won a bunch of Super Bowls. But prior to the 70s and the 60s, the Steelers weren't a good team. My point is all teams have runs. So you're looking at this again, and in 70, 71, and 72, we had John Brody, number 12, the 49ers quarterback, who came out and got us to the playoffs. And from there, the rivalry's been on. Dallas knocked us out twice, and I think in the NFC Championship game, and in the playoffs, and I think it was just a regular divisional game. And from there, we didn't make any noise until getting Joe Montana in 1981. 1981, 82, we have the big catch moment. We go to the Super Bowl. All through the 80s, we're dominant. Then in the 90s, we start going through some quarterback pains where Joe wasn't necessarily there. Steve was coming to age. And you know what? The Cowboys became America's team again. And they've self-proclaimed themselves as America's team. And we can all turn around and get sour. And I don't like hearing it or saying it. But it is funny when you see their cowboy helmet and they got the red, white, and blue on the crown. It just makes you, that's total marketing. And at the time, the Cowboys did what they could, and they caught storm. So a lot of people over America do root for the Cowboys, living in different parts of the in America. And I think Jason and Levi can speak of this as well. There are fan bases that are centrally located and really root for one team because that's the biggest city close to them.
You know the story with those Cowboys, right? The White House story.
Oh my gosh. It's like I lived in Kentucky, and you look at Kentucky and you're like, well, they should probably root for the Bengals, right? They maybe Indianapolis. Why am I watching Cowboy games in Kentucky? Why am I not watching Titan games in Kentucky? Titans, Tennessee, right next to each other, right? Falcon games. I'm watching Cowboy games. So, yes, I purchased an NFL Red Zone, and I was happy because at that point I could watch my Niners again. But back to the rivalry. We've had players go back from one team to another team. We'll talk about that a little bit maybe tonight or tomorrow, depending if you guys can stick around with us. But this game coming up is going to be hyped to its max. This is probably the best game of the season, the marquee matchup of the NFL. There's only 2 or 3 games in the season that they can say this is our game we want everybody to watch. So I'm saying it, Niners, Cowboys. I'm gonna throw it to Levi real quick, and Levi, let me know what your opinion, and then we'll rotate to Jason. Everybody get a hold of this so much. Everyone being here, having fun. It's Friday night. If you have something to drink, something nice to wet your whistle, please drink it. Enjoy your evening with us. We got a lot of fun.
Cheers,
coming
boys.
along. So, Levi, what would you say? Because you're not a Niner here. All of us are kind of, I don't know, maybe homers if you want to say. But what would be a marquee matchup for you this overall NFL season?
I mean, so like, are you talking about like like? What do you mean marquee matchup? Like, who do I think is going to be the favorites on each side? Like,
No.
okay,
Just
I'm
when
sorry.
you look at the NFL schedule, it's all in front of you, and you're
Mhm.
saying, "Oh, this is a must-see game. This is a must-see
Oh.
game." So the Cowboys and Niners Sunday night. I don't know how much bigger that could get.
The Trey Lance trade honestly adds a whole nother like part to that. You know
Yes,
what
it
I'm
does.
saying? It's who knows? Maybe we'll see an injury to Prescott. And Trey Lance go march out onto the field. Just NFL script writers. I'm kidding. But there's a lot of good games this season. I know a lot of people are going to be looking for Bills, Chiefs. I'm looking at Eagles, 49ers. I don't know if y'all played them, but I'm looking even at the playoffs.
Yep.
Like, that's the game I'm looking for in the
Week
NFL side.
13, I believe.
I figured there was no way, even though I don't know the Niners schedule, I know NFL enough to know that they would not schedule that game. It's just too big. You know what I'm saying? What week is it again?
I think 13.
And so that means
Yeah, I
y'all played
believe
Eagles
13.
right around us, basically, if I'm not mistaken. So you got
We have a
back-to-back
stretch there between you guys where it's a real rough month for us.
It might be a little rough there, but honestly, I think it's going to be great. The fun story about the Cowboys, back in like that 70s team, they had something across from the practice facility called the White House. And it was just where they did a bunch of recreational things and hung out with provocative women. Let's just say that. And Cowboys were having a good time back then. Let's just say that. But I'm excited to watch the matchup.
So, Jason, I like that, Levi. We're going to say your game right there is the Niners versus the Eagles. That would be the next marquee game. So, Jason, what would you think? Looking at the schedule, it doesn't have to be a Niner game, but if you're looking at a schedule and you're saying, "Oh, wow, that's going to be a good game for the NFL," we've listed Niners, Dallas, Eagles, Niners.
I mean, for me, I kind of have to go just because I'm going to be there. It's the Niners Thanksgiving game here in Seattle. I have to go with that one because it's the last game of the night. Everything else, I mean, I agree with you. I think the NFL would really like to have had both teams come in at 4-0, and then Sunday Night Football, both teams 4-0. Who's going to take the lead in the NFC? Blah blah blah. So we've lost a little bit of that with them losing to the Cardinals. But the Trey Lance thing does. It'd be interesting because I think Trey Lance is still listed as their third string quarterback, so it'd have to go Dak, then Cooper Rush, and then them. I think our matchup with the Ravens is also going to be another big one. I don't remember if that one's prime time or not. I don't, because
So it is because it is
Christmas
time.
I'm looking at.
Oh, is it
going
the
to
Christmas
that
game? Okay, then there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the Christmas game, but it's the third Christmas game of the evening. So yeah, it's the primetime matchup.
I'm probably going to miss that one because I believe they're making me work on Christmas Eve, or Christmas night, so I might not be around for that one. Unfortunately, I have to watch it from work. But yeah, for me, it's definitely going to be the Seattle Thanksgiving one. Look for me on TV.
I will do that. I will definitely.
I'm going to be
doing that.
sitting right at the players' tunnel when they come out. I'm sitting literally right as the tunnel comes out. So.
All right, so let's go to John, and then we'll go to Corey. We'll go to David. John, you're looking at it, and you don't have to choose 49ers, but what's a marquee matchup? What's an NFL game that you look at it and you're like, wow, that's going to be a good game to watch this season?
I have two
Niners and
yeah,
Cowboys.
basically, I got Niners and Cowboys. Yes, Seahawks and Niners, Ravens and the Niners.
Yep.
Are the ones that, and plus playing against the Eagles.
Yeah. Do you got another game possibly that hasn't been mentioned yet that you think would be, and it doesn't have to be Niners, but just a game that you're like, wow, this is going to be one that we need to watch?
It was probably the game last night with the Bears and the Commanders.
Okay.
And I did watch that one, and I'm like, what? Bears came out hot. Commanders did not.
I had DJ Moore in my fantasy.
Turnover issues. That's we'll get into that. Mr.
DJ
Corey
put up
Davis.
40 on Payo.
Yeah, like 30 points or something in that game.
He put up over 40 for me.
Was it 40?
He got me a 40-point lead against Payo this week to start the week off. I'm predicted 150 plus points so far.
Mr. Corey Davis, you're looking at the schedule. You know, Thanksgiving's been talked about, Christmas has been talked about, the Eagle game has been talked about, this upcoming Sunday night's been talked about. What's the game that you're looking forward to? You know, it doesn't have to be a Niner game again, but a game that you're like, whoa, I need to watch that game.
I'm sorry, I'm going to have to mention the same one.
No
49ers in Dallas. I'm looking forward to this game. I'm looking forward to this game, and I'm looking forward to the Ravens game because I'm going to that game. So I'll be sitting there cheering for my 49ers to beat the Ravens.
I'll be looking for you hard, Corey.
But I know this game, the Ravens game got me nervous. You know, that's when I predict this, when the beginning of the year, before off season, I predicted that we'll lose to the Ravens. But I'm hoping not, since I'm going to the game now. See, yes, I can't wait. I already got my ticket.
Yeah, I'm hoping. You know, I'm doing what I gotta do. I'm looking at what I can do, and I'm planning on being there with you, Corey. So we won't be sitting next together, but I'll definitely be coming by and finding you. That Raven game on Christmas Eve, you know, Christmas Day. I don't know. There's something about that game, and I got Lily pumped. I got Tony pumped about it, and I got to see what I can do. But maybe Santa Claus brings me some cool tickets in my stocking. We'll just say it like that, right? All right, David, McNiner, McNew, McWavo. You've been popping, man. You've been everywhere recently. If you guys didn't see David, he was on with Ted Talks Ball. Definitely a good show. Go check it out. David's been on with Ted a couple times, and always good shows.
Yep.
But David, we've talked about a couple different NFL matchups. Everybody's really mentioned a 49er game. If you have a game, it could be Niners. It's not a big deal, but is there a game on the schedule on the season overall that you're like, wow, the NFL really nailed this game? This is going to be 100% a good matchup.
Tomorrow night's game. Niners, Cowboys. Does it get any more epic than that? You know, the rest of the season, it's one game at a time, baby. So, you know, all starts with tomorrow night. The classic Niners, Cowboys. You know, both teams looking pretty good. No pun intended.
Sunday night.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
Sunday night.
right.
One more
Sunday
game,
night.
one more night.
I've had such a long week. I lose track of days, guys. I'm not gonna lie. But yes, the Sunday night matchup. That's the one I'm really looking forward to. The rest of them, week 13, it's hard to say. You know, like the Eagles, it's kind of hard to say what that's going to be. Thanksgiving against the Sea Chickens. Again, that's kind of far away. Need to see a few more games so we kind of know what the Sea Chickens are, you know. And the Ravens seem to be pretty good. So, but they come out to our house, so I'm also looking forward to that game, of course. But, you know, at this point in time, it's the Niners and the Cowboys.
Do you want to know where that game's officially ranked on the NFL? Like, according to NFL, like a writer, 4th
Yes.
for the season. That's the 4th most anticipated,
Oh, wow.
according to Nick Shook, around the NFL writer, by the way. I'd like to give shout
Adam
out.
Sheen has it on 3 in his list. That's the one I
Number 1, Eagles versus Chiefs, week 11.
Yep, that's, Actually, he has
All right,
Buffalo
guys.
Bills and the Jets. Week 1 is the number
I
one
saw that.
game.
I saw that. That was a bust.
Why? I mean, even with Aaron Rodgers, why would that be the number 1 ranked game?
The Jets actually ended up winning that one too.
But I mean, just
what it could have been. What it could have been if Aaron would have just stayed healthy, right? But,
Week 11, we got the Eagles at the Chiefs. That should be a good one.
That will be.
I'm looking forward to seeing the Jags tomorrow. I mean, not tomorrow. Thanks, David. Sunday against the. Sunday, I'd like to see the Jags. They're playing the Bills. I like the Jags. I think they're a very spunky team. You know, they like to see them do good. I'm glad they went back to the solid helmet too, because when they had like the half helmet, it looked like somebody smacked them in the back of the head, or didn't get. Yeah, it just didn't look right. So
did you guys see their game last week?
No, go ahead.
The Toy Story game.
Yes. No, I didn't see that version of it.
Dude,
I see the other part of it.
Can we just get rid of Madden and get the Toy Story animation for a football game from now on? I would throw so much money at that game.
Institute VR into it, bro. Oh my god,
dude! That would be the only game I ever play. And I think next year they need to do Cars, and then they can do Up, and then just start doing the random Toy Story Pixar movies.
That VR QB game with the new Oculus 3, I think, is getting to come out soon. I ain't gonna lie, your boy thought hard about it.
Does anybody remember the Nintendo Wii Backyard Football?
Yes, that was such a good game.
That's what that would remind me of, like little kids playing football with big old helmets, and I mean, like, yeah, that would be fun.
I like it because anytime anybody broke for more than 10 yards, they started having flames coming out of their feet.
That's the old school stuff, man.
I could never do the flip risk. I couldn't throw the ball very well. I just couldn't. You know, Nintendo Wii and me don't vibe, but that's okay.
I was a god at Wii bowling.
I hated Wii bowling because I could never reproduce my own shot in real life. Like,
you can't do the same thing.
Oh, it frustrated the shit out of me. I was like, fuck this game. Excuse my language.
So my daughter beats me at Madden football on PlayStation, and I'm not afraid to say I'm pretty good at it, or maybe I'm really bad at it, but she likes to play with the 49ers, and I usually play with the opponent's team, and she hates when Jimmy throws an interception, and she usually does it every game. It's kind of funny. And but now we're gonna upgrade to the next season, and you know, it's almost like every year is the same game for the last couple of years. But
the same damn thing.
Honestly,
I hate spending $80 every day.
I bought the $100 Lamar Jackson MVP edition pre-access to stream it, and within a week I was like, "This game's garbage," and I've never touched it again until it came out on Game Pass.
It took you a week to get there.
I know, right?
My favorite Madden year, weirdly enough, is the 2014 year. I like playing with the 2014 season.
Do y'all remember Madden Bus?
Works out for me. But
which one?
Madden Bus.
2014.
Where they had the show, where they would drive around on a bus. They would select one player from every team, and they would just play on like in games at the stadiums and stuff. Bro, your boy was trying to get on the Madden Bus so hard when I was younger. I ain't gonna lie.
I remember the Madden Bus, and like at the end of the game, they would put up the player of the game. And now, so are you saying the player of the game would get to play on the video game, or
it was like a competition for money where they would select like a bunch of fans from different teams, and so they got on these buses and went around to the different NFL stadiums, and then they would put them in the locker room, set up like the game consoles, and they would play basically in the separate locker rooms 1v1, you know, and it was like a whole competition, and like I've been a fan that long, I guess.
Hey, no worries. Again, we're not the youngest cats, but we're not the oldest ones either. We're still cool, right? So, okay, so we've had some news today, right? David McNiner, have you heard the news? There was a trade.
Randall Gregory has been acquired by the 49ers for a 6th round pick, and Denver's giving us back a 7th. So it's kind of like, you know, we're swapping picks in one whole round, and we're getting a player out of the deal. And
they're paying his salary.
he's a decent player. He's a
Mhm.
decent player. I honestly think in Chris Kasork and our defensive system, he is going to do pretty good.
We had another trade happen pretty recently, too. Not to the 49ers, but
Dolphins.
I like that trade mostly for the fact that they are taking most of his salary. So, say he doesn't work out, we can cut him, and it costs us literally nothing. That to me is the best part about that whole trade.
Gregory does have high upside. He's always had high upside since college. It's just whether you can get it out of him. Almost Clowney-ish, which, fingers crossed, dude, Clowney has been playing outstanding for the Ravens. Like,
So is anybody like a number guy here? Real quick, Corey. Is anybody a number guy?
a little bit.
Do you think it's weird that Gregory is wearing number 5 and we have an opening for that jersey spot? I mean, I'm just saying. Okay, bad joke, guys. Go ahead, Corey. Go ahead.
And we released Kerry Hyder.
Yes.
We let him go.
There could have been someone else we could have let go instead of Hyder. I think Hyder's versatility is something we were going to miss, especially the farther the season comes along, because his ability to play inside and outside is so good. I mean, he led the team in sacks in 2020 from a defensive end position because Bosa was gone. So
Yeah, but he haven't done nothing lately.
no, that is true, and I get that argument against him, but just how many players do we have on there that can actually play both inside and outside as effectively as he can be at times?
Yeah.
That's a good point. That's a really good point. Kerry Hyder was cool. Jake Colito, we also lost him.
Yeah.
But, you know,
Marlon
they do.
Davis.
Jeez, man, it's like sometimes it's like you want these guys to just like there's reasons that they change direction for these players, and they're like, oh, maybe we can get them back, or so Hyder wasn't producing, so now we go after this guy from the Broncos,
Randy Gregory.
Gregory, thank you, and we'll see
I
what
will
happens.
admit, it's not a good. So from the outsider's perspective here, a little bit, it's not a good sign that you're already having to hit the trade deadline so early. Usually, you're like maybe 2 more weeks, I'd say, maybe even 1 week minimum. But like, I feel like the sign that you're already having to hit the trade deadline shows you made some bad decisions early on in your roster camp. And I don't know what those decisions are, but like I know for Baltimore, I don't know if y'all follow Baltimore, we have been dealing with massive amount of injuries, massive. But we've been winning these games, of course, except the coaching blunder of the Indianapolis Colts game. Our depth has shown, and that's why we're 3-1 right now, because our 4th string is beating starters right now, and the Ravens are getting healthy, fingers crossed. But so I would just be a little wary that you're already having to hit the trade button, and I feel like you're probably going to have to pull the trigger eventually before the trade deadline on potentially one, just because that's how injuries happen, sadly, in the NFL, and it's a matter of time. But I think the Niners are still okay.
All right, so Raven, before I call you Raven, you know that, Darwood. I call you everything but ugly.
Yeah.
Call
me ugly too. I don't give.
No, you know that. But so you were mentioning that there's been other trades. You want to give us like a little NFL update?
Oh, just that Chase Claypool trade is what I'm referencing to Miami.
Yeah.
Chase Claypool showed all the potential in the world, and then he's following the trend of Pittsburgh Steelers that just lose their minds. I don't know if it's CTE. I don't know if it's something in the Pittsburgh water. Maybe they got some steel in that water. I don't know.
It is funny how it's always the Pittsburgh Steelers receivers that end up just like going cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. I mean,
Like literally.
no one's actually done as bad as AB has when it's come to going off the hammer, but
And that's all on Vontez Burfict, man. Like as the AFC
yeah,
North
that one had more to do with it than that.
I was scouting Vontez Burfict when he was still considered at one point a first-round potential pick. And then when I watched his film, I took him off my draft board. I said, nope, absolutely not. Like, and I'm glad watching him in the NFL.
Yeah, he's just like
Or what?
good player, and he could have been a good player. Like if he had just not been a fucking dirty player, he'd still be playing in this league. But he was just
That's what the Bengals do.
What are you guys talking about?
perfect.
And the wide receivers for the Steelers losing their minds all the time. Just a history of it now. And Chase Claypool, the newest addition to the group. But he's down in Miami now, which is where crazy people are welcome down here. So
Hello, Nobody Sports.
All right.
yeah, welcome in.
What up?
What's up, Ryan?
Hi, Ryan.
Brother?
Just kicking it, bro.
Did you get a fresh cut? Man, it looks good.
A little bit ago.
About
Had
I
it.
haven't been around.
Had a $1 margarita tonight.
I'm drinking from the
Cheers.
mason jar.
An apple pie cocktail.
Drinking some
Ooh.
Crown and Coke.
Are you talking about like real apple pie with like moonshine?
No, not with moonshine. I've made it the cheap way without the moonshine.
I've
What'd
had the
you
real
use?
moonshine.
But I did
Everclear?
party bucket.
Party.
Oh, okay. Hey, I've been trying to tell these guys about The Rock.
Dude, the pizza?
Pizza, yeah,
Yes, dude. The Rock is the way to go, man.
The what?
The Rock.
The Rock.
All the pizzas are named after like rock songs. Their drinks are
Yep.
named out after bands.
They
and
play
rock
like
songs.
heavy metal while you're there. It's such a cool ass place.
That's pretty dope.
You can also get a bucket of rum,
Yes, a big ass bucket.
Arg.
and you get to take your bucket and your shovel home with you. It comes
You
with a
don't
little
understand,
shovel
dude.
too.
Holy shit. The South, that'd pop off. They have like a whole pirate culture down in South Carolina. They'd love that. Put it right next to Jimmy Buffett's Margaritaville. Whoo! Civil War 2.0.
I will say they have some really good wings though at the Rock. I like their wings.
They're Moz bread.
I'm getting too off.
The Moz bread is
yeah,
amazing.
the Moz bread is good. Can we just say everything at the Rock is good? Just
Yes,
put
you
it
can.
flat.
Yes, you can.
Hey, you guys know I.
Oh, they
I
also
come
make
home
their own
sometimes-
beer too.
Yep.
They brew their own beer there. It's
You guys
amazing
know
place.
sometimes I get to find stuff that's neat sometimes. You know, I do thrift shopping and I do, you know, sometimes people leave stuff in apartments, you know, and I find it, you know, or people give stuff to me. So my latest, and I think you guys will like this from being from Washington.
What do we got?
Oh, Olympia
There you
beer.
go. Good old Olympia beer.
Nice.
It's pretty cool. It's a nice crate. And if you guys don't know,
Dope.
it's the water.
It is the water.
Rainier will always have.
Rainier
a-
is the best.
No, like so.
Yes, it-
Anytime
Rainier's
anytime I went to the airport, leaving or coming to Washington, we always went past the Rainier sign. So like that Rainier sign is like etched in my, you know what I mean? Because it's like, this is the Rainier. I don't even drink beer. I don't care anything about that, but I'm happy to see that R.
I like their beer.
Rainoir? I don't like Rainoir.
Well, I'll try
Vitamin
it
R.
once. I'll try it once and then I can tell you my opinion. And then from there, it's like, okay. Because like there's beers out here in California I don't want to drink again. But, you know, if somebody offers it to you on a nice hot day, you know, and, you know, hey, you know, sure, you know, cheers. Okay, so with this upgrade in the 49ers defense, it is a nice point, you know, Raven, to put that out there. That is something definitely to think about. We are now scrambling to go for the
You and the
trade.
Dolphins were, I think, the first, basically. Really?
Yes.
So are we?
Hey, all because
Are
we're
we
trading this early doesn't mean we're desperate. It means we're making a move. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
And at this point, we just got rid of an unproductive guy to bring in a productive guy. So, a good move is a good move. You got to strike while the iron's hot.
Well, and shout out to them for realizing we got an issue. We need to do something, and let's do it right frickin' now, and not let it linger on and see if it'll get. But will this work itself out? No, it's not working itself out. We need to figure this out. We need to be proactive. I'm happy about it.
I want to. Someone mentioned earlier about the best part of that move was that the Broncos are eating that contract. I want to really highlight how good that is. The Broncos are going to eat $10 million of that contract, while the Niners are only going to have to pay the veteran minimum of $840,000.
I loved it
for a 7th round pick.
Yeah, exactly.
How
we're getting a 6th back for it.
How the fuck do we do this? How? Sure.
What was so bad?
Who pays $10 million for a 7th round pick? That's essentially what they're doing.
I'm gonna go check over the cap.
No. John Lynch called him up and said, "Look, remember that time we were at the bar and you did that thing you don't want the public to know about?"
It'd be a pity if your wife found out about that shit that happened that one day. That'd just be horrible. Man, I'm gonna say some prayers for you.
I hope nobody took pictures or anything like that. Of course, I would have.
That'll be a video showing up on TikTok soon.
Bro, the Broncos kind of did him dirty. All right, so let me break this down. So the Broncos gave him this deal with a lot of money, but there's not a lot of guaranteed. So after 2023, there's no guaranteed salary. A lot of it's cap or roster bonuses where he's on the team essentially, and base salaries, meaning this is a 1-year term deal where you're going to cut him at the end of the season as well.
Yeah, so, pretty much. Unless he's falls out and gets 10, 12 sacks, yeah, he's gone. He's done at the end of the year.
Honestly,
he's going to cash out somewhere else.
Get 4 sacks out of an $850,000 salary, you're already maxing out that value essentially. Which I count Randy Gregory for 3 at least. Especially with Bosa.
I don't necessarily need sacks from him. I need him to scare the shit out of the quarterback and make him step up into Javon Hargrave or an Eric.
Which he's really good at setting the edge like that. So he's
got good speed.
Career, he's been really good at setting that edge.
He is
what up, Wolfcast?
Past his assignment a little bit, get out of lane a little bit, because I think he is a little smaller, almost like a Nolan Smith type, essentially.
I think he's 240.
Yeah, 235 to 240 range. It's not the best, but at the same time, for speed, it works.
Yeah.
Hey, he's also 6'5". He has length.
Yeah, he does have length.
He does have length. 5, I think.
We've been missing that, that speed rusher, the opposite of Bosa. So now we have that sort of the D Ford replacement, because D Ford was a really good speed rusher. So maybe we get some of that productivity out of him that we were missing.
I call it the hammer and the anvil.
I'm trying to see if I can find
the hammer and the anvil
about him. What I think he could add a lot. So a lot of teams, when you have a good pass rush, have to switch to a quick passing game. The most lethal thing to that is defensive lineman with quick wits. Bosa, Urban does it pretty well for us. He's a 6'7" defensive end. He actually tied TJ Watt's college record, which is why we drafted him originally. But again, get your hands up. And I'd be screaming that if I'm y'all from now on, probably, because I feel like it's going to be the story.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to find that stat on it.
They've been killing us with that quick passing game.
Look at the Rams game. Just perfect example.
It's the only way to counter
20 catches.
Oh, yeah.
It's the only way. So your defensive linemen have to play more discipline. Sorry.
No, you're good. That's why we all are here. We're all having a great interaction. A lot of people, so I want to make sure everybody gets an opportunity. But we got John here, Big Bad John. He changed his name. He's not Big Bad, he's a big guy. But John, what's your thoughts on this signing, this trade? And I'm so sorry, my dog Bruce Wayne, he's in here, so he's super loud. He's gonna be very vocal. But John, what's your thoughts on this trade? Do you think it's going to help the Niners, or you think it's just? What's your thoughts?
It should help us because I know the guy is good and that type of stuff, and he's going to definitely help us out. At least give us a little bit more, basically better at our skill sets that we have these guys for. And yes, that was my son. That just popped in too.
I was hoping it wasn't some kid you just pulled off the street.
No, and he was in his basically his 8th grade football jersey too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You're in
Tell us a
Auburn,
little bit about
aren't you?
his-
Yes. He goes to Olympia. He goes to Olympia Middle School.
In Auburn.
Okay. And
Yep.
he plays football. What position does he play?
He can play wide receiver. Basically, he does wide back. He can do corner, and he does safety because he's basically about 100 pounds. He's getting close to 6 foot right now.
Damn.
I know, right?
And I'm 6'2",
Oh my.
and I was a lineman when I played high school football.
Wow. So,
Wow.
so we got
So,
three guys
John,
that live in Washington.
Yep.
So my dad's family is from there. My dad and grandma lived in Woodland, Washington.
Aha.
And if you follow the I-5 all the way up to Tacoma, and stop by here and there, you will run into all my cousins, aunts, uncles, and they're
So
they're
somewhere
all
around
over
me
the place.
then.
And
That makes
my
sense.
favorite cousin, the one I like to stay with, and I mean he's kind of in the middle of nowhere. Like we see coyotes sneaking up to his fence. You know, he lives in Vader. So I don't know if you guys even know where that small town is.
That's down south.
I tried to pet a coyote once. My employee thought I was nuts. It was a lone one. He was skittish. It was my first time seeing a real coyote. I'm from the south. We don't have too many of them around the area.
So during the winter, I used
And
to
you-
sit in my truck and smoke weed, and the coyotes used to wait for me out in the woods, and they would
Been
be
hanging out with Aaron
running up.
Rodgers.
They'd be running up and down on the tree line, and I'd kind of hightail it into the house because I didn't want them coming up and biting my ankles.
Yeah, if they get in a pack, you guys are worried.
That's what I'm saying. Because it was
You
hungry.
don't know about coyotes?
Hungry.
Yeah, if you don't know about coyotes, if you've never seen them in wild, in real life, you know, they're not cute and cuddly. They're not like what they draw on paintings and make them look all epic and stuff. They are an ugly, straggly, nasty looking, starved dog that will come up and eat your baby if you're not watching. I'll tell you what, they're like a dingo, but they are America's dingo. Okay, if you don't know, go back and reference.
We had to
that.
run them off the runway in Arkansas. Is what we had to do. That's where I saw it my first time. I was in Arkansas.
All right, so guys, I have a couple fun things to go over. We got Corey Davis up there at top, and a couple months ago, a lot of us was on the panel, and we had a lot of fun. We went through some awesome pictures on different channels and different videos, and I thought it would be fun to let's do a guess who, right? So if you guys don't mind, I'm gonna put some pictures up over the top of us. We're gonna have a quick view of who they are, and then we're gonna scatter it up. I want you to guess who it is. All right. So it's Friday night. So everybody, cheers.
This
All right,
is
take
this
a
is
good
Corey's
look.
favorite. No, it's not.
No,
That's the
it's the
Colts.
Colts.
That's the Colts. My
The
bad.
Colts.
It's the Colts.
Colts cheerleader.
Take a
Where were
good
your eyes
look.
looking?
Picture with your guys' camera vision, if you can. Right? Okay. So this is the
Oh,
Baltimore
I
Colts.
was actually looking at her belt buckle, but you know.
That's exactly what I saw. I saw the boot had the U on it.
Oh,
That's the
All
Chargers.
right, so we got to look at that one long enough. This one
That
right
looked
here,
like the
everybody,
Rams.
Again,
That's the Chargers.
thank
at
you.
the left
It's
shoulder.
the Chargers.
Oh.
It does look like the Rams, though, because it seems like they share the same stadium and
It looked
the
like
same
the St.
uniform
Louis
so much,
Rams.
It does, actually.
right?
With that darker blue.
Yeah.
Good. All right.
You
so
know,
now we're gonna move
Sharon
on
is
to-
Karen. I'm sure they just change uniform and become the Ram cheerleaders. So you know.
Oh, hand me downs. There's the Rams.
All right. This is the Rams. Here's the Rams.
It's the same
okay?
chick.
And these aren't. Yeah, same girl. All
Is
right.
that Holly?
Who's the
Now,
third
like-
one in the line?
Right.
I think this is the
Lions.
Bears.
Here's the
Is that
Lions.
Holly?
No,
Lions.
guys.
All right.
So, this
Is that
is
Matthew
Green Bay.
Stafford's
We've
wife?
owned them for a long time. Get out.
You told me what to do.
All right. So everybody
I
has an
think she
opportunity
is gold, Tigger.
to have memorized these, right? So now we're going to play a little bit of memory. Okay. I'm not going to give it away. And anyone who wants to, throw out their guess on who it is, but we have kind of cropped some of these pictures, and we are trying to find the Dallas Cowboy.
Wait, what?
So we're
That's
trying to
cool.
figure out which of the Dallas Cowgirl cheerleaders.
That's Coach cheerleaders.
Yes, this is the Colts cheerleaders.
Mhm.
Ooh.
Corey is on it. Look at that. All right. So
a little bit of
a
that
little
girl-
bit harder.
The hot brunette's boots. That's the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, that was the Detroit Lions.
Yep.
We got another winner chicken dinner. All right. Okay, so now we're gonna do another good fun one.
Go out.
The redhead is hot.
That was
Cowboys.
no, that's the
No.
Chargers.
Chargers.
Yeah.
/ Rams.
Wait, what's that?
That's the Texans. We already
Texans?
picked the Texans.
Texas.
Right.
Yeah.
Here's the
No, that's the
Texans.
Bills. That's the Bills.
We didn't.
Look at the background.
Right.
Wait, what happened? What about the last one?
That
Was
is
it
the Bills.
Chargers.
That is the Bills. So the last one we were looking at right here were the Chargers.
Okay.
We're the Chargers. Okay. So now kind of jump the gun a little bit. I'm gonna show you guys this one.
So now we're adding another team in.
Yeah, so you can kind of like get it like really crazy, right? It's Friday night.
Wait, go back. Go back real quick. Go back.
I was wondering if someone's going to say something.
No. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you
There.
can see the Buffalo Bill all in the
Doesn't
background.
it look like?
Ugh, Bills
Does-
Mafia.
Hold up. Gosh, stop, Brian. Go back. I'm trying to explain. Like, how are you gonna
Right
go
there
back
between
when
the legs
everybody else
hanging
talk
down like
about
a-
it? Look, the girl in the middle looks like she's cut off at the waist and like moved forward. You know what I'm saying? Like they just cut her off at
Hey,
the waist.
I
and
didn't take
moved
the
her
picture.
forward on the-
I just found him. Okay.
It doesn't even look like she could bend that way. It looks unnatural.
All right, so we're gonna look at again the next. I want you guys to guess again. Try to remember. Put them. We're playing game of memory.
That was the LA Rams.
Yeah.
LA Rams. Notice that Ryan's pretty good at this game.
I was about to say, no Gordon's
Okay,
got
so
this
now
down,
let's
bro.
see if I got.
Be right back. I'm refreshing my memory.
I think that was the last one of our picks. So clearly, that's the Texans. If you guys don't know about the Texans, they kind of are like they're the true team of Texas. You can't say Texas without saying their name. Okay. And then you look right here once again. This is what the Cowboy cheerleader looks like.
Yeah.
Shout out Corey Davis. Okay. This is what the Colts cheerleaders outfit looks like. So again, shout out Corey Davis because it's very easy to get confused with this. If you almost look at it, it's almost
saw
the
this
same
one
girls in the
already.
picture.
This is like the third time we saw this one.
Right, but I'm making a point. It's like the same girls in
Oh.
the picture. So it's easy to get confused with the Dallas Cowboys and the Colts cheerleading group because they wear very similar uniforms. All right, so I thought it would be cool to bring up this picture. If you guys haven't seen him or heard about him, this is the new Dallas kicker. All right, thought that was a great picture to show. He just made the kick. He's got his signal, his stance, and everything. He's a Notre Dame kicker, and he wasn't a football kicker, if I'm correct. He was a soccer kicker. So pretty interesting that they're going to go with a soccer player.
Why has he got a button
He's
in
gotta
his
kick the
trousers?
ball, right? Hey, I didn't take the picture. I found the picture. If the guy is well endowed, or if he's blessed by
I don't know if I call it well
being,
endowed. If it's looks like
you
a
know,
button in it.
I'm not looking at the button for sure. I'm looking
It's
at
like
it,
he's
like
smuggling
the
a lima
overall picture.
bean, like a lima bean in his pants.
Again, I'm not looking at the man's pants. I'm looking
You
at
know
the
what? Just
overall
because you
stance.
said that, he's
Shout out
gonna
to
hit the
Herbert
game
Smith.
winner on you now. I want you to know that.
Go back. Go back. Go back.
All
He's
right.
like, say something about Lava Bean. Say something
How do
about
you-
Lava Bean.
How does that not jump out you? That little weird, different color thing right there. I'm telling you, doesn't that look like a lima bean sitting on 2 tea bags?
You know, I'm more
I gotta say,
concerned about his stance and his follow through on his speaking. Is he following it through with his eye? Like,
Why are you looking at there?
What I was thinking is that Dallas kicker looks young enough to the point where he get pulled over for just driving a car because of how young he looks.
That kicker gets jealous looking at Vienna sausages.
man, Ryan is going hard on it today.
Pause.
Shout out to King Mufalsa. If you don't know, you know he's one of the cool ones. He's everywhere. He's in everybody's chat. Shout out to Doofu Sports. If you don't know, it's a really cool show, really cool app. You should check it out. If you want to private message me, I'll tell you more about it. But that's where I actually met King Mufasa at. So,
Oh, you met King Mufasa on Doofu?
Yeah.
I know about some Doofu. What's
What are
that?
Yeah,
you
if you know
holding
about
up, David?
Doofu, it works.
You gonna try and smuggle something?
It
No.
Oh,
well, it's Friday night, so if anybody in the chat has questions, throw them out. But we're just going through it. The Niners have a new kicker. The Cowboys have
not
a new
for
kicker.
kids.
So is this the year of the kicker? And I'm going to
Cheers.
go to John over here in the corner. Is it the
Brian.
year of the kicker, John? Cheers.
Yeah, for basically Jake Moody, because did you see the rating I sent to you about Jake Moody, Brian? Number 19
Yeah, I glanced at
for
it
the
quickly.
rookies.
see,
But there was one more. There was one more basic kicker right above him too.
people were so out of shape because they picked Moody. And it was like a month and a half earlier. Bryant and I sat down for an hour and explained how it probably was going to happen and why it wasn't a bad idea and how anybody would take a day one starter at pick 99. No matter what, anybody will pick a day one starter at overall pick 99. So shout out to Moody for proving Bryant right.
Yep.
And not only was it like, if you guys ever get to go back, because I've tried to find the stream, I haven't been able to find it. But me and Ryan did have a great conversation about it. And I think don't break my hand or anything. I'm not going to bust my hand on the back or anything like that. But I think after we walked away and Ryan heard what I had said, I think I kind of grew a little bit in Ryan's, opinion, like just a little bit more respect, right? And then when that pick happened, that was when it was like, yep, it happened. And I could have been totally wrong, but it's just the logic that I had and everything that, I was presenting just kind of lined up to what happened. And it's kind of one of those things. It's like when you know the lyrics to the song at the end of the game, it goes a long way. It really does. And if you don't know, Journey, tell you that's our song.
As someone
My
that's
city.
always had a long history of good special teams, I appreciate a good kicker, man. Going back all the way back to Matt Stover, like the original OG for Baltimore.
Don't stop believing.
Under 40, guaranteed.
Hold on to that feeling.
Is this turning into the karaoke show? We can all start.
All right, let's go, guys. Roll the roulette.
Just a small town.
If you ever get a chance.
Hey, if we can work Journey lyrics into our responses, do we get extra points?
Yes.
As we're approaching the midnight train here on the East Coast, guys.
So if you
This
guys
conversation's
know,
going anywhere.
If you ever get to go, and maybe Levi knows his
Going
stadium,
anywhere.
at the end of the Niners game, when we win, they play Journey, My City. When the lights go down in my city, right? That's our victory song. So if you ever like get to hear it on the song, like I like hearing it after we win. I love listening to that song. But
Oh.
So, Raven, do you know if there's a victory song for you guys down there in Baltimore?
Oh my gosh, I actually don't even know. We do have the Marching Ravens, so I absolutely know we do have a song, but
Gunshot.
You know what's crazy? Going too loud.
Automatic gunshots. That's
No. Hold on. It's not. That's not true. That's not true. It's gunshots followed by a Baltimore police officer planting evidence.
Because
For those that don't know, they've been found more than like almost
A bag
any
of
police
crack.
unit planting like crack in cars.
shots going off and then a bag of crack hitting the suspect's feet.
That's probably it.
It's like, is it the Boston Red Sox that play Sweet Caroline at the end of their games?
No.
The Miami Dolphins one is so annoying.
There's
Like,
a
oh my
college that
God.
does Sweet
I went
Caroline.
to that games. I hate the Dolphins one.
I think the Boston Red Sox do it too, but the whole stadium at the end of the game sings, and it's just fun, So just
I think
going
that
to
is the Red Sox.
Yeah.
Is
Honestly, living out where I do, every time the Seahawks win, there's a bunch of gunshots.
it? See, we get.
We
I
got
got
fireworks
fireworks.
here.
Low, man.
Like,
Yeah,
what are we?
John.
I
It's
keep her in
week
low.
2. Why
Every
are we
once in a while,
shooting
go
off?
pop off a couple rounds.
We always have like a firework
kidding,
that
I'm
goes
kidding.
up, boom, and then you get a couple crackles, and you're like, okay, Seahawks game is done.
Hold on, I have to add this, guys. Legal disclaimer: please do not discharge firearms in public areas or in illegal manners. I shouldn't have to tell you this, but we're gonna go ahead and
Well,
clarify.
Hold on. Make sure to check with your city regulations because in some cities it's okay to go ahead and do that. So I just want you to know.
Right,
It's allowed in Enumclaw.
I used to live next to Boom City.
Shoot fucking shit in the woods just
Hey.
for fun.
I used to live next to something called Boom City. People would come from miles around. They would drive for hours to come by the fireworks next to my house. Shout out to the Tulalip Indian Reservation.
The South does it different for 4th of July. They take it hard. It's like it's a mark of pride. I actually used to do it too when I used to go to the beach. I would like go buy fireworks and I would like take pride in putting on a show for all the tourists slightly. Weird. Like me and my friend would sit there and like spend hours looking through the shows in the fireworks store. Like it's kind of fun until you almost blow yourself up.
The 4th of July lasts for like a week on the res because everybody got a fireworks stand and everything that doesn't get bought doesn't get returned. It gets blown up. So the day after the 4th, literally the streets of the res are coated with nothing but wet cardboard. Just tubes and tubes.
4th of
and
July
tubes.
around here lasts from like June 15th to about July 19th.
Well, I'll say, can I spin this for everyone? What's your craziest 4th of July story? So at least we're just
Okay,
going
so
around.
mine isn't really. Mine's not a 4th of July necessarily. It's kind of a traveling
Or
story.
yeah, firework, I guess. Yeah.
When you get to the Bible Belt region, and it's funny, it's the Bible Belt region, but you're driving through like that Tennessee, Arkansas area. You're coming through Memphis area, right?
It's a weird. It's a
They
weird
have
area.
firework factories, right? And they're off of the interstate, the highway. So it's really funny. You look on one side of the interstate, the freeway, you see TNT. You look on the other side, you see Triple X. And you're like, what the hell's going on here, right?
They really do, bro. And they're like, these are good, wholesome towns. Meanwhile,
wow.
take a left at Interstate 74E for the porn store.
Right? You know, and all three of us, my dad, my brother, we all just cracked up because when you get to Kentucky, you know, like there is no really, like, if you want to blow up a chunk of earth on 4th of July, you can do that, okay?
God bless you, is what they say.
We had a great 4th of July in Kentucky. The way we set it up was awesome, but there was a staging accident where we had like, I want to say like 80 of them. It was like we had little mini rockets going off in like a pack, right? And there was so many. There was either 60 or 80. There was a weird number that was in this rectangle that we had staged, of course. And well,
it's like
when
a little
they started
mini
going
show,
off,
essentially, like.
Yeah, you know, it was like our grand finale, right? Well, we didn't at the beginning, you know, at the end of the show, when we set this thing off, the explosion from it was going to flip over and shoot towards us. So we had like 80 rockets coming at us at one time. So shout out to 4th of July. Please do it responsibly. You know, you want to keep all your fingers and, you know, like, oh, I do have that one right there. You do want to keep all of them and be safe. And at the end of the day, you want to be able to wake up the next day. But
all things.
My name is Jason Pierre Paul, YouTube producer.
Thank you. Hey,
my Jason Pierre Paul. This is Jackass.
You know,
please make sure your mortar tube is braced and doesn't fall over and shoot through a family with 8 kids.
Not just
Real
that.
quick,
If you got a mortar tube, you need to make sure there's something under the bottom if you're going to do something stupid like hold it up in the air, or else it's going to come through your head. Just
do
so
not
you know.
shoot mortars off at a high rate of fire to where it warps your mortar tube, and you don't realize it.
Real quick, Corey, real quick before you go. We were shooting off fireworks at my house and stuff like that. And it was a lot of fun.
You already told your story.
No, but real quick, he said
you already told your story.
Vincent brought up a cool point with the fingers. So Steve Young, if you guys didn't know, held a set of fireworks. He held a one in his hand and it blew his fingers apart when he was a little kid. Go ahead, Corey.
Okay, when I was a kid and we used to sit on top of our van, go to watch the fireworks. One time, one of the fireworks went off and set something on fire. And my neighbor was there, but she thought I was her kid. She started grabbing me, pulling the car. She said, go, get in the car. I'm like, get kidnapped. No. I'm not your son. She looked, oh, I'm sorry, I thought you was Beetle.
Corey over there, I need a dope. Different dope.
And then one we used to do. You ever put firecrackers in the drain?
Oh my God, no.
Well, we said firecrackers make a real loud noise down there. We said, what would an M1000 would do?
Oh no.
How big of a sound that would make? So we put one in there, and it said, boom! People come running out their house. And they say,
Corey out there giving people heart attacks.
And they say, what was that? What y'all doing?
Corey,
You made my water turn on.
The lesson of the story, Corey was a wild one. You don't know him.
We made our neighbor's water turn on by itself. It said, it turned on.
Our big
Hey,
fireworks
Corey.
used to come in like in tennis balls. Like we used to get the M80s and the M1, M150s and whatnot, but like we get like quarter sticks that were like.
Yeah, we don't
just a
get
big,
fireworks
huge
here. We
M80.
get dynamite.
Well, back in the day,
You ever played fireworks before?
before the
Little
ATF came in, it was we were getting I got somebody in touch with somebody to get $2 quarter sticks back in the day. Like it was just, you wanted something big to go boom. You know what I mean? Yeah, we all knew it was dangerous, but nobody was.
All things within ration.
This guy was stupid, and he was lighting it, and he was letting it burn down a little bit, and then he'd throw the thing into the little gully area there, and then it just explode in the middle. Oh, it was freaking crazy.
Fun fact, you can put out a fire with a strong enough firework.
Yes.
And
John.
Hey,
like
Willie has a question for Corey. Willie Vassar, I've never seen you before. If you would subscribe, appreciate you. But he has a question for Lockdown Davis. I have a question. How do you think Brock can stand up against my Cowboys pass rush? And then he puts in the chat, this will be the first time we are playing with all 5 of our starters. So I think he knows you, Corey. So again, how do you think Brock's going to do it against the Cowboys pass rush?
I think we're gonna do good. Brock Purdy knows to get rid of the ball, and offensive line is starting to chill a little bit. So I think we'll be okay there. I don't think he's gonna get sacked too much. He might get 1 or 2.
Seems like Brock does a good job. Actually, remember, Brian, I think I said something about how fast he was throwing the ball, and then I sent you that stat line. He had like the fastest, I think, of his career, like 2.1 seconds from snap to throw, essentially. So his ability to throw the ball quickly is really helps negate a lot of pass rush. And then Christian McCaffrey on draw play.
I think we're going to run the ball because look at what the past couple teams have done. They've like Arizona, they had success running the ball, but the other teams have gotten down and, thrown the run game away and started passing the ball around because they had no choice. So I honestly think we're going to run the ball. The previous 2 games in the playoffs, we had success running right at Micah Parsons. So I don't see why we're going to change what worked before,
If I can piggyback on that, the Cowboys have struggled in run defense going back to last year where they were making trade deadline moves at the last second, bringing players back, trying anything to fix that run defense. And in the draft, we actually saw them use their first-round pick on a D tackle that's known for run defense that actually, from my understanding, struggled in camp mightily. I haven't followed the Cowboys enough, but you might have a very strong point that you can find a hole. There's a hole somewhere in that Cowboys D line, especially on the interior.
That's a good point. All right, let's throw it up there to Jason. Not Jason, I'm so sorry. John LaJoy. So sorry. Your biggest
just because we look alike,
fear.
Man.
Oh, I know. I'm telling you what,
we're not doing the fireworks story anymore. You tell your story,
all right,
and Corey tells his story. You don't even let the 3 people from Washington that actually got to play with fireworks as a kid. You didn't even
I haven't given my story yet either. I grew up in the South. I grew up in South Carolina, and Myrtle Beach, and Tortoise.
Brian needs to stop giving his story first, because then he'll remember to wait for everybody else.
Brian screamed. I'm having fun.
All right. Well, again, I thought when Ryan was talking about the big explosion that looked like a tennis ball, that was his. Go for it, Ryan.
I was telling him the size of the fireworks. I didn't tell you anything story.
A lot of us had stories about mortars, and that's probably the biggest fireworks because mortars are.
Well, a tennis ball is bigger than a mortar, depending.
Yeah, I'm about to say.
Oh, it's John's turn.
All right, John, you got any fireworks stories? You got all those?
I got at least one. One of my friends bought some not so legal fireworks for Basie down in California, close to Eureka, California. Yeah. And we will blast them off, and basically the I can't remember the name, but you can hold them in your hands and it blasts and it shoots little rockets out. And I actually aimed one at basically a
Roman
friend of mine.
candle.
Yes, we were
Roman
having too much
candle.
fun with those.
They're like fun, but slightly
Alright,
dangerous,
Ryan.
but fun.
Yeah.
All right, Ryan, you got a rocket story for us?
I got lots. So it's always a good 4th of July fireworks show when the pit catches fire. So I've
Yeah.
seen about 3 or 4 fireworks show where the fireworks will fall down, hit the other ones, and then lights the whole pit on
Mhm.
fire.
Like a
you got
professional
fireworks
show
going off.
gets on fire.
Yes,
Like one of those ones. Yeah, my friends
I'm
have
gonna
told me
mute
about
you
that.
for a
I haven't
second.
seen it, but
but so now the worst thing I probably ever did is we had mortar tubes. Some buddies allegedly broke into a fireworks stand and got unlimited amount of mortars. So we are taking 3 mortars at a time and we're dropping them down the tube and then we're lighting them. Now, sounds all great, right? But you don't know which one's going to go off first. So sometimes the one in the middle would go off first and it would just knock one off the top and that would fall on the ground. And then normally what would happen is you would have like 3 bursts all at the same time, one up in the air, one in the middle, almost close to the ground, and one on the ground somewhere around the area. So it was like
terrifying.
someone lit their tube, and then depending on how quick they ran away, you could light your tube and then everybody would clear, but you couldn't stand there for like 10 seconds after they lit their thing and then light your tube, because if that one crazy one pops off and then hits its report, you don't know where it's going to put it. It might be next to you when it just domes. So yeah, we had
To explain
and
for
also-
those that don't know, too, mortars, when we're explaining mortars are usually, when you hear fireworks, they usually have the deeper sound. They go higher. They have larger blast radiuses.
Mhm.
These are usually the show-stopping shells that just light up the sky. So when he says one blows up on the ground, the blast radius of that shell is minimum like 20 feet, if not
Oh,
larger, depending
no,
on the size of the mortar shell.
it was
probably.
smaller. So
Okay.
the radius. Well, I guess the radius could be about 25 feet. You're
Yeah,
right.
feet, not yards. Yards.
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah. No, it was butt puckering.
Yeah.
Also, those Roman candles, just to teach you guys how to be really irresponsible. When you fire everything out of the
Disclaimer.
Roman candles, you could take the bottle rockets and you stick the bottle rockets in the Roman candle, and it's a perfect launcher to then turn around and shoot people. So, in a gross
Many Roman
bottle
candle
rockets,
wars.
yeah.
See,
They
I was
used to have
launching mortars. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Gordon.
they used to have Roman candles with M80s in them, so they would shoot out like M80s.
They were
So-
loud as fuck. Excuse my language.
I've shot a mortar at somebody, and I've had mortars shot at me before.
Nope. No,
I'm
thank you.
not lying.
That's terrifying.
I've had fireworks blow up in my hand. I went deaf for a little bit. Well, I had ringing in one ear for a very long time and a burnt hand. But I also, one of my first experience with fireworks is me and my cousins were lighting a mortar, and they brought over, like I told you, that you need a board underneath it to support the bottom. So they brought out a board that didn't work, so they got out another board, where the first board that they got had a nail through it, and it's dark, we can't see. They light it, we all run away. I step on the board with the nail.
Hashtag
And-
proper lighting equipment.
Yeah, and then now I've got to go get the hydrogen peroxide in the foot, and yeah, that was fun. And it didn't come out; it had to be pulled out. You know what I mean? Because yeah.
Yeah, we were lighting them off on the beach, and we were lighting them off just mortars consecutively as fast as we could. And, you know, it was all fun and games. Like, we didn't have to get too far away. And we're sitting there lighting it, and all of a sudden, it's taking a little longer for the mortar to go off. And we're like maybe like 3 feet minus away from it. And I look at my buddy David. I'm like, David, don't they normally shoot off by now? Well, we hadn't noticed it had melted the tube slightly. And so all of a sudden we saw a bright white flash when the mortar went to go fire. And we literally just turned around and dove into the sand, basically. And it blew up the tube right there in front of us, sent shrapnel flying around. Thank God we didn't take any hits, but our Marine buddy, thought we were dead because we just disappeared in a giant thing of smoke. But
My grandpa had
setting off fireworks with your Army friends.
No, we like to go to where people play basketball stuff, doing stuff, and they're busy. So we'll sit up there, light an M1000, and walk away. Set it where we'll take some of the powder off, so it'll go slowly, and we'll walk away. And people look at first they look at us like, "What are they doing?" And then that's all they doing, nothing, because it takes so long. And then we go stand behind a tree and look at them. And when they go off, boom, they say, "What the fuck?"
Terrifying. Looks like
oh, go get you,
David.
To see the expression on their faces. Ooh.
Also, we used to get the pack of 100 firecrackers. You know what I'm talking about? They come in the red paper. They're all linked together.
Mm-hmm.
If you thought of a Chinese firecracker, just
I think
on the
that's what they're
string.
called.
Yeah. So we used to take those and light the whole strip and just throw them on somebody's lap. And if they're smart, they'll just stand directly up and the firecrackers will just fall on the ground. And then all you have to do is you don't step on them. You just put your foot above them in line with your face so nothing can hit your face. And then you just go about your business. You drink your drink. There's many a time I was sitting there macking on a chick and somebody came up and threw fireworks on my lap. And I just stood up, sat back down, put my foot over it, blocked me and the lady, and kept talking to her. You know what I'm saying?
Do you have more stuff for us?
That's what a stud or a man would do. They wouldn't get up and shriek and be like, "Oh my God, there's an explosion in my." There is always an explosion in your crotch if you think about it the right way, right?
Mm-hmm.
So again, Friday night show. We'll pause for
how
a
you
second.
handle it.
It's exactly how you handle it, right? So, okay, so it's Friday night, guys. It's been an hour and 20 minutes. If you don't know, now you know. David McNider is going to have a show here in a little while. We're not telling you to rush away or go anywhere just yet, but I want you to know this guy down below, Mr. McNider, he's going to be starting his show in a little bit, and we're going to go and raid his chat. So, right away, he's going to start a show in a little bit, and then we'll go over and say hello. But how you guys feel about the Cowboys? For me, it's the Cowboys, the Seahawks, the Ravens, the Chiefs, and the Rams. Those are the teams I don't like. And, Darwin, no offense, but you guys beat us in a Super Bowl. I kind of have a feeling about that. And the
I'm
Chiefs,
a little biased, too.
We do have some feelings about that game, just so you know.
But other than that, I'm okay with you winning, the other Super Bowl and, all the others, I'm okay. But when it came to us, I want a rematch. I want a rematch.
I'm so excited for the rematch, honestly.
Not only do I want a rematch.
You won't be when it happens.
No.
You know what? I'm not going to lie. Bosa's going to be a problem. But sorry.
Not only do I want a rematch, I want a second game because when it's 1-1, because I expect the next time we play the Ravens in the Super Bowl, I want that third game. Yep.
I'll be honest. I'm usually pretty pessimistic or realistic about my Ravens expectations. Most fans are like, yeah, every year, like Dallas fans, it's our year. No knock on Dallas fans, but I'm usually pretty realistic about my Ravens fans or my expectations of Ravens. And I have not been this excited about my Ravens basically since our Super Bowl team, which I've been very vocal. I think case in point, our wide receiver room is way better than that Super Bowl team. I think our running back room's better. The defense, you can't take away Ed Reed and Ray Lewis, but the defense is pretty solid, and if they can get healthy, is the big thing, and they are starting to get healthy.
Bless you.
When you think about certain seasons, right, and everybody can get an opinion on this one. There's been certain time, and I know some of you guys are a little older than me, but I'm looking from like maybe 94 to current, right? 94, I was like maybe 10 years old when the game happened. 9 years old if I'm lucky. I'm from California. We have fuzzy math. Okay. So if you don't know about fuzzy math, you should, it's a good joke in politics. But anyways,
Rising Rhino in the house.
Shout out to
Got a
Rising Rhino. Thank you.
raid.
Hey, we got
Rising
Ryan.
Rhino.
What up, Ryan?
Wow. Thank you so
That's
much,
rated.
everyone. Appreciate y'all coming through. So with
What up, Linda?
certain years,
Sorry,
certain
that's
years being
Giants fan.
not everybody coming through. I appreciate you guys. If you can smash the like and subscribe, that is awesome. We do channels all the time.
Rising
and
Rhino
shows and
raid.
all kinds of stuff. So my point is from like 2000, and 4 or 5, we know we went through the dark days. When we got up to 2012, that season was really magical. Like we went 13-3. Then the next season, or 13 or 12-3-1 or 13-3-1, I think it was, or 12-3-1. Then the following season, no, the first season we went 13-3, and then the next season we went 12-3-1. That was the Kaepernick season. But those, when you start out that well, and you're like 8-0, or you're 7-1, you're like, wow, this hasn't happened in like 20 years. Like this isn't like we're a good team. So like the 2019 season, we were 8-1. We didn't lose a game until I think our 8th game. So like right now, again, I don't want to get too hyped, but it just does feel like a different season. It feels like a historic season, a season that you should be very proud to be witnessing, and like, if, some years I understand not everybody can be 49er all the time, right? Or NFL or Raven all the time. You have family that comes up. You have times where, maybe you're not in the region that you can necessarily watch games easily. Now I know internet's getting better and a lot of things are getting better, but there's been times when people in the last 30 years that you could only watch a game from like the radio or certain areas, just depending on your location. If you were lucky, you'd have to read the newspaper the next day to find out your score. Again, the world's changed a lot. And I'm speaking from experience. When I was in Kentucky, I didn't get to watch a lot of Niner games, and I'm not very happy about that. Okay. From what it was 2010, 2011, or 2009, 2010, I was in Kentucky. I didn't get to see a lot of Niner games start to finish.
Southern
I'm not very
Ohio,
happy.
you mean?
So when you're like, you have a team like we have right now, and this is the moment where it's like, wow, we can really, really do something this season. Years from now, we're going to talk back about this season. But why are we going to talk back? Because we won the Super Bowl. So at the end of the year, I don't really care what their overall record is, but I think we're really, really going to have a good record. I think at the end of the year, the end results is what's going to matter the most. And because we have a veteran team, we have all these people in place. As long as we stay healthy, guys, 15-2.
Can I ask you a question to the Niner fans as a Raven fan?
Most definitely.
If you had one more trade move to make before the deadline, what position would you address for your Niners?
Cornerback.
Corner.
I think that's super, super funny. Everybody said
Nickel.
corner because I think at the beginning
Specifically
we would have said
nickel.
offensive. I think everybody would have said offensive right line, right side.
That's what
we
I
wanted
would have
to
said too. Absolutely.
But I think with everybody else here on the panel, it's got to be a DB or like David said, a nickel.
Can I ask you a follow-up question, Brian? Why? What happened?
Because I think Colt McKivitz is playing really, really, really well for his position. I think he does get some help. David's brought this up multiple times. When you look at certain pass rushers, because they are stout, they are who they are. TJ Watt, The only time he really went past McKivitz is when he ran around him. Maybe he's fast enough to do that, but it was a speed rush. And it was when Brock Purdy was in shotgun and then he dropped back further. But when he's having to run through the guy, he's not getting through that brick wall. So for me, I'm happy with what we have right now.
If anything, Banks would be the person we need to, not Banks, sorry, Burford. Burford's the weakest link so far on the line past week 1. Like, I think it was McKivitz giving up 3 sacks was bad, but now that we kind of looked at things, it looks like Burford's having the issues more so. But I think we can deal with that. I think we could deal with that. This Dallas game will be a great test to really to show us how our right side does. But if we get past Dallas, if we got a corner or nickel, somebody's a DB. David's saying nickel, but to me personally, I don't care whether it's nickel or outside. We can make it work. If we got a nickel, we can move Diamador Lenore back outside, and I think that'll work. But also at the same time, if we got ourselves a badass outside lockdown cornerback, that would just be perfect too. You know what I mean? Because if you really need to give help to the nickel, you can do something with the safety or the linebacker. And you've got a guy on the outside who doesn't need any help on both sides, essentially. So, and with the quick passing scheme that everybody's trying to do, I kind of like having another outside lockdown cornerback.
Hearing y'all mention corner, y'all of course are all Bay Area people. We have an old UCLA guy that's balling out at cornerback on our roster. I don't know if y'all know him, Brandon Stevens. He's got a really cool story. He actually
did he play for the Seahawks?
No, he was a running back for UCLA. He transferred to SMU and became a safety. And now he was originally like a 4th string, 5th string corner essentially for the Ravens. And now he's been starting. He's the only Ravens starter that's played 100% of the snaps every game for like the past few games.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he has been balling out.
Sounds like he's like the Tyshawn Gibson Sr.
They love his versatility when they drafted him, honestly. And like I said, we drafted him as a safety at SMU, and he's been playing corner for us, locking it down. And like I said, we're about to get Marlon Humphrey back, hopefully this next game, actually, his first game back. And so, but I thought y'all would like the UCLA kid balling out a little bit.
Humphrey's a ball. Bit on my hand somehow.
Ryan, did you see the private chat?
Yeah, we're going to go ahead and move that to just a little bit later, Corey. We'll move that to David's show, and we will move. I'll talk to you a little bit later about that as well. Yeah, guys, again, it's been about an hour and 30 minutes. We're going to keep going because we're having a little bit of fun. But David McNiner is going to start his channel here in a few minutes, and we'd hope you guys can go and smash the like over there and maybe hang out with us for a few more minutes. We'll probably
starting at 9 o'clock.
Well, yeah, so don't be late. I'll probably go just a little bit over 9 o'clock so we can just, make sure we can get everybody
it's a
over
smooth
there.
Transition.
And you know what? That's what we need. We need team players. So, I was looking up today something funny. You guys know I like dad jokes, and I had found some dad cowboy jokes. So, if you guys would like to take a minute and listen to some
Are
of
the
these
Cowboys
jokes.
just a joke?
Wait till you beat them first. Wait till you beat them first, then make the jokes.
Mamas, don't let your babies grow up
to
to
be
be
Cowboys.
cowboys.
So again, if they win the game, they win the game. Any given Sunday.
Busting their
these jokes
TVs and other such stuff. Sorry.
These are already written, so it's kind of, it's like hard to not credit them or read them when they've already been read, right? Or written. So why did Tony Romo cross the road?
I figured he
It's
got
the-
hurt
Signed the
crossing
broadcasting
halfway
deal.
there.
His dick was stuck in the chicken.
To get to the hospital on the other side. All right, the next
I figured it had to do something with injuries.
right? Tony Romo had like a broken back or something in Dallas.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he had a back injury. It's pretty bad.
Low key, I like
Whoa.
Romo as a player, to be honest with you.
Dude, when
He's
he
pretty damn good.
first got
He
into
has
the
some
broadcasting
guts.
booth, he lit it up. He was calling teams' plays ahead of the actual broadcast. There's a reason they signed him for money. Like,
Oh yeah, as far as a broadcaster, he's one of the best there is right now. Like
he
hands
just
down.
showed his
Yeah.
NFL knowledge. He had all the knowledge, but
Like
you got
whoever was that said it, the man had a broken back and was still playing NFL, in the NFL. So I mean,
All right. So did you guys hear about the joke that Tony Romo told his receivers? It went over their
catch
heads.
the ball.
No, it went over their heads. Why can't Tony
shout out to my
Romo
Colt fans.
right?
Honestly,
So
that was
what
my
not?
biggest knock on Anthony Richardson was he sailed so many balls. He's got to fix his throwing mechanics, but the kid's got great potential.
Well, he
So why
needs to go and talk to Trey Lance's guy.
So why can't Tony Romo use the phone anymore? Because he can't find the receiver. Okay.
Because Des Bryant dropped the phone.
Why are the Dallas Cowboys like Hillary Clinton?
Oh.
Both have bills to push around. Okay. How many Dallas Cowboys does it take to win a Super Bowl? Only 2. Emmitt Smith and Troy Aikman. They both need it. All right. So what about the Giants? Okay, what did the Giants say to the Cowboys? Look at my Super Bowl ring. Okay. What do the
Wait,
Cowboys?
That would hurt if I was a Cowboys fan,
did
but
you-
I'm not, so it's just funny.
Did you pre-read these?
Jerry Jones was once asked, how much would you pay to win a Super Bowl? And he literally answered, you don't want to know the check I would write to win a
Yeah.
Super Bowl.
He'd probably sell his soul. If
He
had one.
would. He would.
Well, he's
Modern
one
Al
of the-
Davis.
he's one of those
All right,
actual
that's not a good
owners
one.
Sorry.
that will do anything. He's like an Eddie DeBartolo. Eddie DeBartolo would write whatever check that needed to be written.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He didn't give a shit.
All
What
right,
else we
last
got,
joke. I guess last joke. Okay. So how many Cowboy fans does it take to change a light bulb? None. They are happy living in New York shadow. And it's sad, right? Because New York's not necessarily the best team right now, but in the last 30 years, how many times have they been to the Super Bowl, right? So it's like,
New York Giants since the photo, since the Odell Beckham photo.
so I am I definitely like the Dallas Cowboy week. It's probably one of the funnest weeks. And again, they're not the funnest team for me to say, oh yeah, we're playing, but they are one of the most exciting teams to look forward to playing. If you want to be the best, you have to play the best. And Dallas has definitely been at least saying they are the best for the longest time that I can remember. Whether or not they are or not, they still like to say every year that they're going to the Super Bowl. So,
Oh, Dallas fans.
Darwin, what's your thoughts on DTR and the whole Brown situation?
Oh,
Yeah.
DTR.
So, DTR, the one thing that showed up, he struggled sometimes over the middle. And my God, did the Ravens just run literally the same thing? Case in point, Kyle Hamilton had 3 sacks on the day. All came on the exact same play. He threw the almost same exact interception to a roaming inside linebacker dropping off from his offside literally 3 times, which did result in at least 1 interception. It definitely, the speed of the game got him. I was actually looking at my draft special. My quarterback room not doing so well. Man, my running back room crushing. Devon Acme will being one of my guys. If you know fantasy football, he's been crushing it. But my running back room's been crushing it, which is great to see. Some of the other positions take a little more time. But DTR, man, I was like slightly rooting for him to do a little better. But my God, was that heartbreaking to watch. And he got absolutely crushed. If you didn't watch that game, the amount of hits DTR took and like huge hits. That man iced up after the game. I feel bad for him almost. If you watched me live, I was saying I feel bad for him.
I watched it for a little while. I had to get going. If anybody doesn't know, Darwin right here does a great. He's got a great channel overall, but he does.
Appreciate
he really does. He does, and like no slack at all. Like you really do. You put a lot of time into it, and then like when you do televise the game and stuff, you put a lot of energy into it. So if anybody wants to watch another game besides just the Niners, the Ravens, Darwin is a true faithful, to the Ravens. I know it's kind of hard to call another team a faithful, but
go back and watch my heart get crushed in the Colts game.
What would you call yourself?
I thought the kick was good.
What do the Ravens call themselves?
The flock.
The flock. Okay,
Yeah,
well
Ravens
that's kind of.
You could also call a lot of Ravens a murder, but that gets a little too intense. So we used to be called the 2000 defense was called
Ray Lewis has left the chat.
When Ray Lewis and Ed Reed and Terrell Suggs and Nada were in their prime, we were called Death on Wings. Is what that defense was called. They were headhunters. I'm not gonna lie.
If anybody doesn't know, a group of crows is called a murder.
Yep.
Just so you know, there is a beer from the brewery Skookum up here in Washington, and it's called Murder of Crows.
But I'm not gonna say he didn't do something. I was, but
Well, somebody's definitely dead. Somebody's definitely dead.
My thing was this.
I almost spit out my drink on that one.
Also, how did you turn your raw life around? For those that don't know, Ray Lewis also volunteered a lot with the local police departments and doing a lot of stuff. And I legitimately, if you ever have the extra time.
So did O.J. Simpson.
There's an impromptu speech by Ray Lewis given to, I think it's a Boys and Girls Club. He basically was giving a speech to the national lacrosse team that was about to go play in the national championship for Maryland. And he noticed a Boys and Girls School across the street. And he went and gave an impromptu speech. And it's very obvious that's an impromptu speech. Impromptu meaning there was no planning. He just kind of went over there and was hyped up and gave it. But I'm telling you, I used to have that speech on my, and I actually showed it to my kids a little bit. Basically, I'm telling you, it's a great speech. I'm not saying the man's perfect, and I lost a lot of respect for him after he left football, some of the stuff he did after, but we're not going to talk about that.
Wait, real quick. Tell me you haven't jerked off to a Ray Lewis speech. Sorry.
I've worked out to a Ray Lewis speech.
Is that what you call it?
I used to have legitimately, guys, like funny story. I used to have the old Madden thing. Do you remember that? Where he was on the cover. Was it 12? Somewhere around there? 15? I don't know. But he was on the cover and he gave like a little speech. How do you want to be remembered? Oh, I used to have that speech and I used to put it on before my workouts for semi-pro.
No, yeah.
Shivers.
Wow.
I don't care. I'm going out there and laying people out. Cleanly. I'm not Vontez perfect.
That might have been the weirdest football reference I kind of heard. I remember when I was playing football, I had a fellow player, teammate. He said when he watches a Nelly video, he goes home and does sit-ups. And I'm like, okay, well, whatever you got to get motivated for to do it, but
Let me ask you, do you know one of the stories about Ray Lewis with why he wears 52 or why he did?
Why?
So the thing is this, Ray Lewis, of course, grew up in a very poor household where apparently his father beat his mother all the time and he wanted to be able to protect his mother. And so when he was trying to get bigger and stronger, and there wasn't gyms and everything, that he had a deck of cards. So of course there's 52 cards in a deck. So he would flip over the card, and for every card he flipped over, he would do push-ups. And so he just sat there, did push-ups over and over again using the deck of cards essentially. And that's how he became so big and strong, to the point like, and that the impromptu speech I talk about, he talks about that. He's like, I got big because I wanted to protect my mother. I got sick of watching some man beat my mother. And so I grew into the man that could defend my mother. And that's how Ray Lewis became and when he first walked onto the NFL field, Deion Sanders called him a safety. He said, "You too small to be playing linebacker out here, boy." And then Ray Lewis went and just leveled people's heads. And that's why I slightly love Ray Lewis.
He slumped the bus. I'd never seen anybody slump the bus. He slumped the bus.
We talked about sports science. Have you watched his sports science episode?
No.
He can put out the force of a SWAT team hitting a door with a sledgehammer. 900 pounds of force on a hit.
Oh,
They basically lined him up and a SWAT team member with that, like the battering ram, and had them both charge through a door and measure their force. I think it was about 900 pounds of force that he could hit with. Approximately the same.
So, Raven, do you know why Lamar Jackson wears number 8?
Oh, gosh.
If you don't, it's okay.
I remember it, but I don't.
You're going to make him look bad?
He's making me look bad, but I appreciate it. So tell me the story if you know it. Because I
don't know if I want to come on shows with Brian if he's going to just hang his guests out. I'm joking.
No,
I'm joking.
I love it.
Why does he wear 8?
Yeah, let me hear it.
So I don't have the full details. That's why I was asking him, because I've heard it 2 or 3 times and I haven't memorized it. But it was the day that his dad and I believe his grandmother died.
Oh,
if I'm correct. So I think he used
Way to bring everybody down.
Oh, I know. Cheers, everybody. But Ray Lewis, the reason I don't think he'd ever come to the Niners is because he wouldn't be able to use the number 8 unless Steve Young, like gifted it to him or let him use it.
Lamar Jackson?
Yeah.
Okay, I actually have an official statement from him, from BaltimoreRavens.com.
Okay.
He said he was assigned number 8 at Louisville. His mom told him the number 8 stands for new beginnings in the Bible. So Jackson stuck with it for his symbolism of his new beginnings at college, essentially. And, he went on his Heisman run, essentially. So he kept the number. Supposedly that's the story. But
I'm going to, I'll pull it up a little bit later, or I'll just pull it up.
I just did a quick Google search. So don't trust Google.
No, that's entirely correct. It happened in high school, I believe. So,
okay.
I'm sorry, guys, but it was pretty cool video that I got to see. So if you guys ever check out YouTube and you Google Lamar Jackson, there's a pretty cool video on why he wears the number 8.
Sorry, just laughing at Daytona's comment. I'll never watch Darwin again. I know, I was just forsaken by Raven fans. I'm sorry.
No, that's cool though, and no, not to bring the chat down, but I think that's kind of cool. Like when you wear a number or stuff like that, and it's because something that significantly happened to you in your life and stuff like that. So,
I was given my number 72, and it was the last number I was given to me. So, I wore other numbers too. I did not care about my number.
I didn't either, to be honest with you. I really didn't care.
I just wanted to hit people.
I'll be honest, at linebacker, I was better at 70 than I was in my run stopping ability.
I just wanted to be violent. They made
the only
me
number
play...
I cared about was 275 for wrestling.
275.
Bro.
Is that your weight class?
Yep.
Oh, yes. So
215 weight class.
Jason, so I wrestled 215, but I weighed 179, so I could cut a pound and wrestle 178 because there was no backup there. So if the varsity went down, I could go wrestle in his spot, and my backup could wrestle in my spot. And the same thing with 190.
I would be about 305 for football, and then cut to 275 for wrestling.
My practice partner was a state champion heavyweight. So that's weighing 179 pounds. I'm over there doing stand-up drills with a 279-pound wrestler, and I'm, state champion. Yeah, that was my fun.
I took 6th the 1 year I wrestled here. 'Cause I was only here for my senior year.
I'm very tall and lanky, kind of. So
I was a
like
terrible wrestler because I used my weight and I would just sprawl on everybody and wait till they got tired after carrying my fat ass for 3 periods and then pin them.
all the 215 pounders I wrestled were like 5'9", 5'8", and so like it was really tough to wrestle those guys, being who I was. But when it came to figuring out who was top, bottom, whatever, you know, in the second period, I always you know how you figure top or bottom, you know, the ref gives you the, you know, anyway. So they would always pick top. And so now they got to stretch their small little body over my long back. And I would just grab their wrist from the underside here and just lean and roll because they got to stretch themselves all over my body. And that gets them out of position because they have
I used
to
to
come
freak
up.
people out because I do a cartwheel from the bottom.
Oh, I used to do the thing where you cock, you know how when you get down in the down position and you cock one of your feet to the side so you can push off of your other foot and start. Yeah, I used to do that all the time. I'd get points. Just it was easy.
All right, so we got about 10, 15 minutes. All right. Jason, you are the new guy to our channel. And you know, if nobody knows or doesn't know, Jason will be coming on doing rotations with us. So every once in a while it might be Jason and Brian. Jason or Brian. Jason and David. Jason and Corey.
Well,
you know, every once in a while,
shouldn't next week be a Joe Stevens and a Jason? Because I think Joe was like on there, you know, the next in line, and it was going to be either me or Corey that went with them. So if Jason's joining, let's just do it like that.
As the new guy, give me whatever for the initiation.
Yeah. So what we like to try to do, if
got the WWE style belt.
Anybody's new to the channel, we like to have a couple guests that come on, and then we like to rotate the channel with a couple panel members. And the panel members might not be able to stay the whole show, but they are always you know, guaranteed a seat. But then we have guests like Levi comes in or John comes in here, and we have other people, John Jay, David Corona. There's other people that can come in and talk. But basically, the show's going to be on David's channel or Ryan's or Bryant's or Corey's or Jason's. There's 6 of us here, and we try to rotate to each other's channels. So like for 2 hours on a Friday night, then we'll have our late night Friday night show, and we might get a little bit off topic. We might have a little bit more fun. It depends on you in the chat, you know, so tell people about the channel. It is a pretty cool show. It's not always the same show. You know, sometimes you get to see cheerleaders. Sometimes you get to see kickers. You never know with this.
I'm seeing cheerleaders today.
I was trying to crop the pictures right, you know, so make it a little bit, but you know,
I figured I'd have to change my Friday night, our regular Friday night show, but we're good for it.
No. You keep your stuff the same, because if you ever need to come in, you can always do the late show, or we can just kick it back a couple minutes to do your show. We don't want to take anything away from anybody's existing channels or anything they're doing. Again, this is a show that you might do once out of the month. There's 6 of us, so you know, like every 3 weeks, you know, you'll be here for 2 hours. Shout out to RoboCop, Dead or Alive. You're coming with me.
What up, Twin Empire? We're going over to David McNiner's show, which starts in a couple of minutes. The link is now in the chat. If anybody sees that right there.
Ryan, I talked to y'all a little bit about it. Real quick, had y'all started like
Tony beat me a
Discord channel together for all like because I know there's a lot of 49er collaborators. Have y'all like put more thought into it? Like I've done a little bit, but
about what?
Discord channel.
So
we have a Discord channel.
You already have one?
There's multiple Discord channels for multiple 49er groups. I think me and Ryan started one, or Jason says he's got one. I know there's one for like Wayne Breezy. There's one for Grant Cohn. There's so many, but the problem is because there's like over 49 50 49er content creators, and now everybody gets along with each other. It's kind of hard to do. You know, like some people, you know, they compete with each other a little bit instead of like trying to promote each other.
Yeah.
Well,
You know, so
and not just that, but like also like have the community in there too. It seems like everybody kind of just stays in their certain the Discord
The
chat.
cliques.
So
It's hard.
it's hard to bring a people across. But no, I think Discord would be a great way to do things.
I just feel like it would
because-
help y'all collaborate better and schedule better.
Well, yes, but it's
It's also a lot of work.
nobody.
Like you said, we
fucking
have
does
like
it.
there's everybody here probably has their own Discord, and I think that's part of the problem. Is that
Exactly.
there's just so many.
Well,
Mhm.
I made a
I had to clear mine out recently.
I made essentially a San Francisco 49ers content creator one with the hopes of bringing everybody in all into the same one where they could post their links in their own channel, and then you know the community could talk together, and then the content creators can make threads. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you're having a show and you want input, you can get input from not just your group, but you know other people outside of your circle. They have an opinion. You get to hear it. You know what I mean? So I think
It's
I
good
think-
for sourcing material too.
it is
Topics,
totally
stuff like
because
that.
when you can't interview a player, you know what I mean? When you can't interview a coach, when you can't watch a practice, the only thing you can comment on is the actual fans themselves, really. Like
You're
our
going off
opinion.
secondhand.
It's
Yeah.
easier to get your questions from Discord than it is from Twitter.
Yeah, it seems like
fan.
people
If you can get
understand.
your Discord community grown, it's huge.
Maybe we'll have to try that again. And get
It's a lot of
like,
work to get all the bots going. Like I had to get like at least I think 7 bots for my channel, and I literally have no one in my fucking channel yet. And I've got like 7 different bots running.
I think I got
It's
like
only
4.
I got like 2. You know, and I've noticed that if you're not at a certain level, certain people won't want to talk to you. Like if you're not a high tier
Mhm.
49ers content creator and you're down here at the bottom, they won't want to talk to you until
In
you
the
reach
Ravens, it's
so many.
like there's
Yeah.
not a lot. So yeah, it's either you're tiny or you're that big guy that everyone wants to talk.
But
Yeah.
when it comes to Discord, if you had the right channel, it'd be okay because you could just go in and be like, "Hey, is anybody down to do a show on this day and this day?" And if somebody doesn't want to work with you because you're a smaller channel, they just don't answer. You know what I mean?
Let me quote this. Yuval Harari said this: "Collaboration and communication is humans' greatest asset." It's as
Yep.
simple as that.
What up, Bryant?
well, the one thing I was gonna say is because we kind of have like 3 Niner Twitter groups that a lot of us are in between. Well, not everybody. There's a lot of group chats out there on Twitter, but a lot of us are in the 3 that I'm mentioning, and it does seem that sometimes like some of the bigger content creators don't mess with us. Maybe they're just too busy. Sometimes maybe they don't like the narrative other people are pushing off, because sometimes there are not lesser. There's nobody who's lesser than anyone else, right? We're all equal, right? But sometimes people are more active in the chat, you know, and maybe their tone or their narrative comes off in a certain ways, and it doesn't represent the group entirely. But because they're the most vocal person, somebody might take a step back and say, "Oh, yeah, I might be good on that." So I've seen multiple higher tier content creators kind of take step backs from the 3 groups that, you know, we're associated with. And I'm not saying that they won't ever come back, and I'm not saying we don't have, you know, higher people in the group either, because we do have some pretty high notable people. But I think everybody has to take a second to think of what's going on in their head, because mental health is very important. And if you get burnt out to a certain degree, you need to remember that if I'm not happy, how am I going to present to you a happy, you know, show? I mean, being fake for too long is going to show cracks, right? You know, so at the end of the day,
Yeah.
if you're just, you know, so you have to. So everybody does need to take a break sometimes, but it is also, not everybody can be positive every day either. So sometimes if you see somebody not positive, maybe give them a break. So that's one reason. Like I like rooting for the kickers because nobody really is putting their hand up and saying, "Hey, let's go kickers!" Right?
I was.
Well, see, that's why me and you are like, that's why me and you get along so well, because you and me both got that love for special teams.
I
Special
like kickers
teams win
too.
championships.
Kicker lives don't matter.
Pat
My thing is this:
McAfee
I like to think
changed
about
my
this.
mind on kickers.
I think everyone here, like slight somewhere distance in your dreams, would love to, be able to make a living off of this somehow in some sort of way. And my view is this: how do you think Stephen A. Smith and what was his name? I'm sorry, he's on Fox now. He's having some issues. But you know what I'm saying? They were so diametric, and sometimes they literally took different sides almost despite each other. But they still came together for their love of the game. And there was a preacher that said this: correction made out of love is a beautiful thing. You know what I'm saying? And you're both still, like, I think this for the 49er fans. You all, no matter what, at the end of the day, you want the Niners to win the Super Bowl. You all want the same thing.
Yeah.
And yes, you might have some different takes, but I think from someone that went through, I've gone through a lot of different management and leadership positions in my life. Conflict can be a good thing, because if you don't have conflict, you don't grow. If no one ever questions anything, you don't grow. And it's true level of professionalism and growth in your life to be able to set those feelings aside and whittle it down to your love, essentially. And that is, you love the Niners. Sorry.
Hey,
No,
we're gonna go over to the
right.
other show, Corey.
Yeah.
Hold on. Let me just ask
Okay.
this one question. Where's the
I'm
Discord?
gonna pile in.
All right, Ryan, we'll see you there.
All right.
Thanks everybody for
Oh, it's
coming
all good.
through, and yeah, we're just gonna stay a couple minutes over on this show just so we can raid David's chat, get him going. Anybody in the chat right now, please go check out David. Type in David McNiner. His show is live, and it's really easy to find, and we'll be over there shortly. But Corey, what is the Discord? I think the best person, there's three people, Ryan, Jason, and Levi, who can explain to you what a Discord is.
The chat channel.
Discord's like Twitter on steroids. Twitter and Facebook kind of on steroids.
It's an app and like program you can download on your phone and computer where you can build like your own little Twitter community, essentially, where people can join, and of course they agree to your guidelines and rules. So you can bring together, like, so your stream community, you can bring them together to an area where you can share memes, photos, polls, answer questions, and get more interactive with your stream audience. And that's where these big streamers make the difference. Where
So-
they're doing these interactions and finding their fans is in their Discords, not in like their Twitters and stuff.
So you can you can have different channels. So you know how like on Facebook, how there's different people can post different things in the same thing. Well,
Yeah.
imagine you can have different channels where it's just for memes, where people can post pictures. And then there's other ones where you can just talk about certain things. So you could have like a Niner one, or let's say a Corey
You could
Davis.
just have a general chat. So if you're
Pickles
bored and just
chat.
looking for people to talk to you, you could just join the
You can
general
have a
chat.
general
And if someone joins in, you could just talk with them for no
Yeah.
reason at all.
Or you could have talks, or like
It's a way to
you can have-
engage your community.
Bryant Culp's show, you know what I mean? Like a certain chat for that. So people who want to talk about Bryant Culp's show coming up, they could do that if you want to do that. Or you can
Discord
have
is also
like,
used by other streaming software. Like I use OBS. I don't use StreamYard. So if I wanted to bring in other people's video and audio, I would use Discord to bring them, because like Discord can also be used like Skype. You can have video and audio calls with anybody. You can almost use it like a phone in a certain sense.
you can also watch certain YouTube videos on the YouTube player.
Yeah.
But also
And you have bots to play music, moderate things. So like I have bots that, people can come into my channel and say, hey, I play these certain games, and it lets me know. And then it also lets other people know so they can be like, hey, I played this game too. I'm interested in that. And you can, again, like he was saying, have a whole then like channel on your Discord just dedicated to maybe that game and people that play that game. And
Okay.
I've got it set up when certain people tweet, like, say like Grant Cohn, Dave Lombardi, all those guys, it'll automatically post those tweets into the Discord.
Yep. And there's good bots that, so what you can do is go for streamers and say, hey, I'm going live, and you can put a message, and that bot will then put that on your Twitter. It'll put you out on your Facebook group. It'll put on like it'll put it at the bot programs are what really separate Discord apart.
Okay, because I was here nothing but Niners always talk about Discord.
Yep. It's a really great program, honestly. It's been around forever, and Discord was, I think, bought by Microsoft pretty recently.
And what Discord is too, Corey, it's kind of like Facebook, where you have a Discord, I have a Discord, Ryan has a Discord. So you're not necessarily going to see the stuff that's happening in my Discord unless you subscribe to, or join.
Join it. Yeah.
And then it's the same thing, because whatever I post in my channel is kind of like only in my, world, unless you join. So it is neat.
You know how you have moderators on the Facebook groups and stuff like that?
Yeah.
You need moderators also in the things, because if people have problems with other people and people are saying other things, because you've got bots to moderate bad words, but
things,
but other things that are said that could still be offensive. You know what I mean? Certain tropes and whatnot. That you need a moderator there
it takes
for.
time and effort is what it is. It's for
a
like
lot
a really
going on.
serious, like.
I think you might really like it, Corey.
I'll talk to you. And,
do you know the game Among Us? Where like you used to like you hide.
But hey,
oh sorry.
We should probably shut down.
Yeah, we should.
I'm out of here.
If anybody needs the link, private message me. I'll send you the link for David's show. I'll see you guys over there. Thank you all for coming. It's been fun. It really has. Corey,
thanks for having me.
Levi, you guys know you're always welcome, and we'll see you guys again next time. Tomorrow morning, if you guys are awake, join me for coffee, and we'll see you then.
Yeah.
All right, everybody.
Have a good night.